Welcome, everybody, to another episode of The Most Important Conversations. And in particular, we are here doing Jungle and Gardener conversation. I'm here with Jenna Smith, my co-host today. Jenna, how are you doing?
Good.
Good. We were just having an offline conversation about a whole bunch of different things that affect relationship. And, part of the thing that I think is such a challenge for people is that we live in a society that has really conditioned us to want to silo our lives.
Mhm.
Like there's my work life.
Mhm.
And that's where we come up with the saying, it's just business, right? It's
Mhm.
like I can somehow like the laws of human dynamics and ethics and everything get suspended in the business universe, that silo that we create. And then we have a silo for our health and a silo for our relationships. And so we've separated our life out. And the reason we've separated our life out, my view at least, is that we have all been conditioned to do so because of the economic conditions that were created a little over a century ago,
Mhm.
when we transitioned from being human beings to what I refer to as human doings. That almost very Pavlovian, we became highly rewarded monetarily, with a sense of stability because of the credit system. We could get mortgages. We could 10x the amount of money we actually have on paper versus what we really make. Like someone making $100,000 today because of the credit and leverage system can make $1 million.
Mhm.
And yet the exchange of that, which I call the grand bargain, is you have to be a good human doing. You have to continue to, do those backflips and we'll pay you. It's called a salary. Do your job and don't ask questions and don't get creative. And this system of economy relates to relationships because it's caused us to silo parts of ourselves. We can't be whole and complete people in the business environment, in the work environment. We can't be creative. We can't color outside the lines. They don't want us to get any funny ideas. We're not paid for funny ideas. Just do the
Unless you're a
doing
consultant on innovation, then you'll get paid a lot.
for funny ideas. Yeah. But even then, they're going to have a hard
That's
time
why I'm
with
laughing.
AI.
They have these
Yeah.
innovation consultants, but they're not that innovative. It's just a management consultant. Anyway, it's just
Well, and still, it's like, don't piss those guys off because they won't hire you back. So,
Mhm.
there's all this stuff, right, that we've created as a structure that has caused us to silo our life and has caused us to withhold our emotions, bury them, suppress them, not feel them, and show up as different people, fractured people. I show up this way in a work environment, this way in a friendship
Jazzy
environment, this
Chad.
way. Huh? Jazzy?
Jazzy
Yeah.
Chad comes to the podcast.
Yeah, I do come to the pot. But I got to up the energy. Got to up the energy. So why we were talking about this in
Uh,
1966, Timothy Leary came out with this fantastic, iconic phrase, which is still to this day, I think, probably more relevant, or at least as relevant as it was in his day, which is
mhm.
turn on, tune in, and drop out. Turn on, tune in, and drop out. And I think it's more relevant today than in his day because back then they were still very early on in this economic model, the consumer economic model that we have, where it's this grand bargain of you trade your labor, I'll give you money. I don't care about who you are. I don't care about your feelings. I don't care what you're going through. Health, gee, that's too bad. Hopefully that works out for you, but nevertheless, get back to your cubicle and keep working. Right. So it's sort of this heartlessness, this disconnectedness. And so when he was telling people to, and we're going to get to, just for everyone listening, what does this have to do with relationships? Everything.
Mhm.
Because your relationships, the nature and quality of them are directly correlated to what else is going on in your life. And if you've fractured and siloed your life and you're stressed and you're repressing your emotions, you're not integrating yourself, you're not processing your emotions. We were talking about Ian Kerner, the famous sex therapist out of New York, who says that sex is a barometer of the nature and quality of your relationship. In other words, for those who aren't having any, frankly put, your relationship kind of sucks.
Mhm.
So maybe a good friendship, but it's not, what we would consider like a really
Lover,
deep
yeah,
lover
partner.
romantic relationship. So
Mhm.
when Timothy Leary's saying turn on, he's asking us, what turns you on in life? Like what makes that aliveness come through you? Well,
Mhm.
you're going to have to tune in to figure that out. And then his last part of it was dropout, which is, and we're probably approaching a point in our society because of artificial intelligence where this may in fact be possible for us to actually drop out of these conditions that have and will continue to create all kinds of emotional dysfunction, the physical dis-ease, all the things that we're dealing with right now. So this is sort of a big macro thing. Now we'll bring it down to relationships and help everyone synthesize and see that a lot of the stuff you're dealing with in your relationship, the fights that you're in. What was I reading? It was something earlier today, and it was, well, we've heard it. It's kind of like hurt people, that kind of thing. And when we're living in that hurt because we haven't healed ourselves, we haven't tuned in, we haven't turned on.
That's where this all comes from, is that in relationship, you can't live from your head. You can't live from your defenses. You can't live from survival mode, which is what all of this is built on. So when I do any type of relationship coaching, it's a deep dive into like watching their pattern. I call it being a self-anthropologist. Like, oh, okay. So when she does this, you feel this. And so the lack of tools, but then the increase of conditioning of popping into your head, going to logic, but you did this and I'm right and you're wrong. It's everything wrong with like proper communication. I'm right.
Yeah.
Or like all of that conditioning will make a terrible relationship if you don't learn new skills as a human being.
Well, and I think about it from the relationship standpoint. Do I want to be in relationship with someone who isn't turned on? Now, let's just take each one of these and kind of look at them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I think one of the fallacies in relationships is that we think the other person is responsible to turn us on.
Yeah, that doesn't work that way.
And it doesn't work that way. You got to turn yourself on. And I'm not just talking about like, I'm talking sexually, I'm talking energetically, I'm talking emotionally, I'm talking all the things. Like we're responsible to be turned on people in our relationship. It's not the other person who's responsible to turn me on.
Yeah. They can amplify or mirror lack of, but that's all again to tune back in and go, oh, this is where I cut myself off. But if you want someone else to be your source, which is codependence, which is what most relationships are, I love you, now you're gone and I'm destroyed. Nope, that love is still there. And so you're outsourcing your connection, your turn on is just flawed. It's just not how it works. So it's just flawed. Won't work.
Yeah. No, exactly. Right. The turning on is what makes you come alive. And if you're in a relationship with someone, you're responsible to bring your aliveness to that relationship.
Mm-hmm.
You're also responsible
going, right?
and to keep it moving.
Like, keep it going. Don't just go, oh, okay, we're together. I guess let's do things all the time. It's like,
I used to say to people just in passing when we were talking about, they'd be telling me about their relationships or something like that. And they would be complaining. And I said, well, you realize that you're 100% responsible for your relationship. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm 100%. I'm 50. There's two of us. I'm 50%. They're 50%. I said, no, you're 100%. And they're 100%. You're 100%. They're 100%.
Mm-hmm.
And if both of you show up 100% responsible for the nature and the quality of your relationship, imagine what that relationship's going to be. You're not letting the other person let you off the hook for doing the things that you know you need to be doing. So you got to turn yourself on. You've got to tune in order to do that. So oftentimes we're tuning into the other, right?
Oh, hypervigilantly, like, or delusionally. You said this and that meant this. Okay, nope. You got to. So just hot tip in case I forget later, making assumptions based on how you see reality on your partner is not a great plan.
Yeah.
Always test. Okay, you didn't message me back. Does that mean this? Oh no, I just have ADHD and I forgot. And so like just question those assumptions, but when you put it on somebody else, what you filter through your own reality, that's what most arguments I find are about.
Yeah.
What you're making it mean, which is ontology, which is what we do.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's kind of like, it's like by tuning into the other person and not yourself, we're effectively tuning out of ourselves.
Absolutely. There's no other way. Because like you've checked out and now you're in an illusion that's emotionally driven by your wounds. And, okay, maybe you'll be right. Oh, yeah, you're rejecting me right now. because they feel rejected. And that's their own wound to tune into, which is where
Mm-hmm.
the world of therapy comes in. But I think we want to move to a world where therapy isn't this like siloed thing. It's like
Yeah.
it's the whole humans feeling feelings and educating about that. It's not just this thing over there. But
Yeah.
yeah, if your emotions get a hold of what you interpret that person to be thinking, you're not in a relationship anymore. That's just a delusion.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. And then the final, just riffing off of
Mhm.
Timothy Leary just for a second, is the dropping out,
Mhm.
which is we are all responsible for what can we let go of
Yeah.
in our life that we're holding on to, but that is literally squeezing the life out of our life.
Mhm.
That could, it could be in our relationships, it could be in our work, it could be with our, with ourself, our health. There are so many things. I just think of all of the disease, all of the mental health crisis that we're dealing with right now, which seems to be amplifying. And it's because it's a version of insanity, right? It's sort of Einstein's doing the same thing, expecting a different result thing.
Well, it's a
Um,
broken society that has these
totally.
values that aren't based on humans healing and working together, like hence the resourcing method. Like your resources need to match the challenge, but these aren't the resources we need. Like, oh, okay, you take this and you go over there, and you're still alone. You're still trying to figure it all out. Like,
So
eh,
we never built the societal structures and conditions, or excuse me, systems that are creating the conditions we're experiencing. We never built it with the intention of what would make human beings thrive. That wasn't the
no,
question that was asked,
what would make them
right?
compliant? Hmm.
Yeah. Well, I think more than anything, even below that, is what makes us money. And
Yeah,
then keeping people
compliant and
small,
scared.
compliant, and
Yeah.
scared makes us
Hmm.
money because they won't challenge us,
Yeah.
right?
And they'll
So,
be happy with their little lot in life and like, "Oh, this is good enough, and I'll just get drunk and play video games and watch
yeah,
Netflix." And like, okay,
yeah, yeah, which is
you
not
stop that.
aliveness, which is not aliveness.
Yeah.
And so why we're sharing this, everyone, is because each of us have a choice, and more than ever before we have it because of AI and because of what's going on right now. We
Mhm.
have a choice to drop out and to start to create something new for ourselves, or to continue playing the same game. And if you're feeling exhausted, if you're feeling like your relationships are uninspiring, if you're lacking aliveness and joy, if you're just not turned on by life, there's something you can do about it. But it begins with you realizing you're responsible for it. You're not a victim, and no one's going to come save you from that situation, which incidentally, here's our little plug. This is what the jungle and the gardener is all about, right? The program that Jenna and I are starting in September is an opportunity for you to tune in, turn on with other people doing the same thing, the same work, wanting to go deep, wanting to improve. Of course, the workshop's all about relationships, but we can't just handle relationships as a siloed thing. As I was saying at the beginning, we're not siloed entities. So we're going to be dealing with themes and a body of work that is going to be all encompassing in your whole life, and your relationships are going to benefit as a result of this. And so there's a little plug for that. So go to thejungleandthegardener.com to learn more about that. But I just think that, with AI and everything, Jenna, we have this opportunity to really seriously consider what dropping out is going to look like for us. And we get to create a life in the vacuum of what was the old model of living, the old economy, as that begins to fall away, which is expected within 2 to 5 years. So,
Yeah, and that's an opportunity for us to become more being, like,
yeah.
become more authentic. And so what I wanna add to Timothy Leary's thing, which is really interesting because I've used this language in our podcasts all the time, like, because it's human. It's not like I'm like, "Ooh, he stole my stuff." It's just
No,
like,
no, it's great
it's
ideas to
humans
think
being
alike. Yeah.
human. But in my cosmology, with really being tuned into nature in particular, the idea of turning yourself up so much that that which you aren't falls away, just like
Hmm.
nature. So the rose comes out, the dead parts fall away. Like every year when the hostas come out, I just watch it bust through all the dead stuff. And like, I don't even have to clean it off. It'll figure it out. So there's an element that I wanted to add, that we're tapping into the part of us that already knows. And I think people can get overwhelmed and thinking like, I have to tune in and I have to turn on and I have to opt out. And then they think their mind is going to do it all. Where really the work is tuning into those resources that we haven't been taught in this society,
Mm-hmm.
in this human doing society. I call it mind dominance. Same thing,
Mm-hmm.
where our body is a form of intelligence. A body is where the emotions are, where they're guiding us, where there's an intelligence talking to us with us. And it's not all on us alone as a
Mm-hmm.
human personality. And I think it can become overwhelming. And when I tell people this paradigm, like if you turn up your lantern instead of trying to clean off all the dirt and figure out all the dirt, then your job as a lantern, which is to be turned on, to be the lantern, to be
Yeah.
you, then you get to go be you. And actually the way life works is it'll change around you.
Yeah.
Currently, we're using life and nature and the universe backwards as co-creators, and we're contorting to this thing we've been taught to do, and then we're struggling within this system that's been imposed on us, and it's not working because our nature is
Mm-hmm.
struggling with it and being like, "But no, no, too much fluorescent lights. Go
Yeah.
walk. Go
Yeah.
have fun, like, go create something." And so this I call it benevolent pain, where the pain within your nature that wants you to be you is trying to come out against this
Mm-hmm.
system. And that's
Mm-hmm.
how people find us. And so the message I wanted to say in all that is that you isn't something you do. That is
Right.
who you are. That's the
Yeah.
undo. That's
Yeah.
the
So letting go.
that's the letting go. But the letting
Yeah.
go isn't something you do
Yeah.
necessarily. So like don't freak out. Like, just I find that very soothing when my clients hear that because 'cause they've been doing their whole life and they're tired. And they're like, "I don't I can't do any more doing." I'm like, "I know, this is great. We're gonna do this other stuff, and we're gonna increase your
Mm-hmm.
resources to match this challenge, and then you're gonna reorient, and then life will change around you."
Yeah.
But most people are trying to change life. So, that in a relationship, that is the only way to do that, because if you're not in self-relationship, which we will talk a lot about,
Mm-hmm.
and then your partner gives you an opportunity to become more you.
Mm-hmm.
They're not the source for you. They
That's
allow
right.
you to become more you, and that's the brilliant invitation of romantic relationship that a lot of people miss.
So many, most,
They miss
unfortunately.
that
Yeah.
part.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I think that a lot of relationships, look at the whole sort of marriage contract situation thing
Mhm.
is such an abysmal failure, because I think most people they start like they're activated by a spark of attraction, and maybe it's love, or maybe it's lust, maybe it's all of it. It's probably usually all of it. But then they get into the relationship, but then the conditions of the society are a demand on them. And it's like, two income households. That's what's needed today to even be able to begin
Yeah.
to have a quote unquote normal life,
Mhm. Mhm.
and suddenly the reason you got into the relation takes a
Yeah.
back seat.
Your roommates and you're doing the things, and there's a way to optimize all of that and opt out from a lot of that. When I work with my clients, I'm just like, "What are you doing? Volunteering over here and doing this over here and blah, blah, blah." I'm like, "Do you want to be doing this?" "Well, it's, Susan said I should, and she's my sister." I'm like, "Okay, what
Oh,
are we
Susan.
doing? What are we doing?"
Everyone has a Susan. And if your name is Susan, we're not badgering on you,
I've
but I'm
got
just,
all the Susans. I love my Susans. You guys know I love you. It was
I
just the
don't know,
name
actually.
top of mind. No, I do. I know at least
I
4.
only have one Susan in my life,
I just didn't say
and
Karen.
she's great.
I gotta, like, let the Karens off the hook and just be like, "It's not a Karen."
So you called it Susan?
So just Susan's just some innocent random woman who is someone's sister-in-law that or whatever I said she was, and just obligations. There's the
Okay.
obligations and the shoulds and like someone else is dictating where your time is going. And that's what people are used to. It's like, well, you should join this, you should join that, you should do this. And now it's the end of your day and you're not in a co-created relationship with your person.
Yeah.
And what's cool is when you're in a really optimal relationship, your partner can help you protect your own time. Like, do you want to be doing this? To convince me of it. Like, so if you're getting lost and you're getting caught in the weeds, they can help you come back when you're doing this properly, when you're communicating as two whole
Mhm.
people. But to get there, there's definitely some work to be done. that isn't work that's like hard work forever. Once you do the initial part of it, like a running program, you become a good runner and now you're a good runner. You're
Yeah.
just gonna keep it up. But yeah, so it doesn't have to be so incredibly overwhelming because the current pain people are in is much worse. And
Hmm.
that is forever, because if you don't change that, it'll continue or get worse.
Yeah.
Whereas this
Yeah.
is hard
Everyone
working.
has their threshold for when they know they have to drop out. It's just they can't keep, doing this anymore. And we want to be a resource for when you're ready to drop out. And that doesn't mean quitting everything. It might mean that, but it doesn't have to mean that.
Just focus
Um,
on you and it'll become clear
yeah,
what
everything kind
needs
of
to
starts to
happen.
reorganize. Yeah.
It does. It's
Hmm.
constantly doing that. And when I've ever tried to like use my mind and be like, I'm gonna go, I went to Nashville, right? I tried to go to Nashville for 3 months and I was denied entry to the States because they said I didn't have enough ties to Canada. I was like, what? But that was because I was like, I'm gonna do this and I don't want to be here. Like it was all ego in my mind. But when you really work in harmony with life and you really listen, those things around you, like doors open, like they do, like they really,
Hmm.
it's synchronicity, magic. We'll talk about that later, but it's so much
Well,
easier.
and I just want to interject though, for those of you who are like, I don't believe in magic. It's not magic. It's
Yeah,
your perception shifts, and you see the opportunities you couldn't see before. Is
exactly.
all it is. And it occurs as magical
True.
because things just start to really pop your way. It's called
Yeah,
alignment, right? It's called
yeah.
living an aligned life. And well, I won't get into it. We'll talk about perception because
That's
it's a
awesome.
really big part of
Yeah.
what we address in the jungle and the gardener and stuff. But we will address that separately.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Just that it's not all like, "Ooh, it's hard." Like, it's hard now. Not being you is hard. Trying to be in this old paradigm, old conditioning, your family's conditioning, your intergenerational programming that's in you, and just not knowing how to operate as you within those conditionings,
hmm,
that's really hard. That's really hard. I mean, I have
hmm,
a therapist, I have my own coaches because we can't see our blind spots. You can't do brain surgery on yourself. Like, I could do
hmm.
it on anyone else.
Yeah,
Got it.
yeah,
Can't do it on myself.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right. Well, with that, we're going to pause on this episode. This was a good little kind of short, punchy one. If this is resonating with you, if you're like, God, I am exhausted, I am unfulfilled or feeling unfulfilled, I am unhappy in my relationship, and I don't know why. You
Yeah,
know,
I still love my partner, but this isn't working.
we're just roommates. We never have sex. We don't hang out. It's like we're just chips passing in the night,
Mhm.
right? Which is most relationships, I dare say. So if that's you, then look, you can keep living that way, or you can take action and responsibility to change it. You have the power. You're a creator. It's all within your hands, and this is you being able to respond, responsible. And so that's where the Jungle and the Gardener program is going to be a really helpful platform for you. It's live, it's interactive. There's other people. You learn from each other. It's fun. It goes deep. You will not be the same person. Your relationship won't be the same, whatever that means. We don't know.
Mhm.
It's different for
Yeah, and
everybody.
whatever concerns about group work, I find my one-on-ones do not like the idea of group. They think it's too personal. They won't share. And like, no, we create an opportunity for everyone to share openly and safely. And I'm big on that. So like, I create that space. You
Hmm.
also do. Like, we're creating the space for you to share openly, and to curate the room so that you're going to get the same level of work, if not more, a one-on-one. You're going to learn more. You're not always in the hot seat. So you're
Yeah.
gonna have more sense of community and less like, "Oh my god, me too. Oh my god, me too." Like, you're like, it's just very generative to work in a group, and we're gonna be doing, I don't know the dates yet, but we are gonna be doing, like, Q&As.
Hmm.
Like, we're gonna open up some opportunities for you to directly connect with us if you join the mailing list. Then you'll know when we have those dates set up to actually
Yeah.
get a sense of what is it gonna be, what are your questions, what are your concerns. A lot of people are like, "Oh, what if it doesn't work for me?" Or, "Oh, but I am taking care of my mom. How am I gonna," like, whatever those things are, we can look at them together.
Yeah. Exactly. All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to The Jungle and the Gardener. We will see you on the next episode. Not sure what we'll be covering, but it's always
We don't
good
know
stuff.
either.
Yeah, we don't know,
At the
but it'll be
moment.
good stuff. Yeah. Anyway, Tune in, turn on, and drop out.
Yep.
Okay? Think about that. We'll see you next time.
We'll focus on the turn on in a different episode.
Yeah, exactly.
That concludes this episode of The Most Important Conversations. This in-depth conversation could set you on the path to self-improvement, which is essential if you want to be an effective leader and take meaningful action in your life. If you enjoyed this episode and want more of these stimulating discussions, you can find them at tmicglobal.com. Remember, the world is at a crossroads right now. You can't afford to waste this opportunity to take charge of your life, build meaningful relationships with others, and co-create a brighter tomorrow. Thank you for listening. See you on the next one.